There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment, and here we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. We've got a great show for you today. And first of all, Rochelle, how the heck are you? It's Monday, you know.
I'm good. There's always so much happening in the life of a 26-year-old, I feel like. So I keep myself busy with lots of learning. And I'm very excited for another fulfilled week with Positive Talk here with you.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, too. And Rochelle, did you know that we do a music show, you and I?
I forgot. How could I ever not remember that?
Well, and we have a musician, a singer, songwriter who's got a brand new song out who's joining us. His name is Neil Reed, but he's got so much more that we need to talk about because I just found out that he's also a teacher and stuff like that. So it'll be fun to delve into who exactly Neil is and why he's here today.
That is very true. So welcome, Reed, for being here with us. Neil, you do so many things in your life and you look so young. So I'm like, how do you have time for all of this? I'm wondering, but how are you today?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm doing great. I'm having my coffee. I did some meditation before, which is my usual routine. So I'm doing great. And to answer your question, I'm not really sure how everything kind of happens. You just throw energy at something, and sometimes you land in the right place, or you just keep on going.
Very true.
Well, and I'll tell you this, young man, because I think you and Rochelle are about the same age. She's the tender age of 26 or so.
Yep. I mean, I was there 2 years ago, so you could probably guess my age. But yeah, it's around the same ballpark. I have friends who are 25, 29. It kind of feels like it's all the same kind of chaos.
It is. Very good way to put it.
So do you think, and I don't know if you have, I've never asked anybody this who's your age, do you think your life is more chaotic than mine was at 26?
That's a good question. Wow. Yeah, that I think so, but I also, I don't know your background. Maybe you have some crazy stories to tell, but I do think that we're dealing with a different cultural, political, lifestyle landscape than we used to. We have, if you think about it, I'm sure people nowadays are way more stimulated than people were, back however many years when you were my age. And so just based on that alone, that might add to some of the chaos that we're experiencing. But who knows? I'm not sure.
Well, let's see. When I was 26, I'm that's an 80s thing. So, and before either of you were even, what do they call it? An itch in your daddy's pants? That was long before any of that. I was there. And as a matter of fact, I showed Rochelle a picture of me when I was 23 over the weekend.
We can't see that now, can we?
I don't have it.
I do. I mean, we could shoot for the stars. It seems a little fun to me.
It's
Kevin
there in
looked
the ether somewhere.
I can't even describe it, but he sent me this. If you could envision this, it says rave at the top with a giant exclamation point, which means something completely different now. And it says entertainment and TV guide. And it was on a Friday, November 7th here on the paper. I can try to put it in the screen. I'm going to zoom into his face.
That would be really,
um,
wow.
and
Really blast from the past.
I can't believe it's crazy though how much you look the same and look so different. And I wonder what we are gonna look like, Neil,
Yep, yep.
when we're to that point. If everybody can see this beautiful
Wow.
picture of Kevin here,
That is a beautiful picture. Wow, you had really good hair.
doesn't he just look like a TV star already?
Yeah. You know what?
I
There was
did. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
there was something I watched recently. I can't remember the actor's name, but he died recently, and there was it was on Netflix. There's a big show about him. Oh, I'd have to go back and look. But you do look like an actor. So it's
Well, and it's interesting because at that particular moment in time, Rave it was an entertainment magazine, and Green River Community College, where I was going to school, had added me to the cast as a last minute addition because the guy who had the part before me said, "This is a stupid part. I'm not going to do it," and so he left, and then they found me because of the caricature I did in the improvisational class that I was doing, and so I became Punky Givens. Punky Givens had no lines, but but he was very shy.
Good name.
Yeah, Punky was very shy, and he didn't talk. He mumbled. So if an adult were to talk to him, he would go, "I don't know the line," and so it was a very good physical role and stuff. But I had the bit part in the thing, and right before the show was gonna open, this photographer came, and he took a bunch of pictures of the cast members and stuff. And I was the last guy to join the cast, and talk about serendipity. I was the last guy to join the cast, and then that's the picture they put on the cover of Rave magazine, which was the local paper at the time, and all that kind of stuff. So
You were
and I
with the
still
right
have
place.
yeah, I still have the magazine today, and that's how obviously that's how I got the picture. So, but
Wow.
it's but that was I was 23 at the time, and this is 1980 or so.
Back somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy to think, like so much has changed, but also, a lot I think has kind of stayed the same, right? I kind of feel like our culture moves in cycles, right? And
although I don't know what it would be like to have to be a kid today, because it is so with technology the way it is, and with smartphones and with everything that's going on, you don't have a chance to just be like you did, because there's always, it's like Rochelle had something to do on Friday night, and she had something to do on Saturday. She's a popular gal, and then something to do on Sunday, and I sat at home and did nothing.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I kind of sat at home too. I actually, this has been something I've been talking to my friends about recently. That if you're not doing something, you feel like a bad person, right? You're kind of like, well, if you're not being productive, you're bad. That's a sin, right? To be able to sit with yourself, right, and to just rest is almost like, I know, maybe it's more extreme if you live in a city, if you're a certain age, right? You have all this energy, all this restless energy, but it really kind of, when you're finally able to sit with yourself, you realize how much in your life is external, right? Like how much of our life is just reacting to what's going on. It's not actually what we really want to do or what we want to say or how we want to come across. It's just a reaction, because there's so much going on.
Very true.
And Omar, I don't know if you know Omar, but Omar says, "Nice to see the show," and stuff.
Hi, Omar.
And so it's great. It's great.
I kind of want to drag that on, Kevin, if I can, with what he just said. I'm thinking about you being a teacher. So we just found this out, 5 minutes ago, if that. And you do music and you do the other things. And is that kind of what you just talked about with your friends? It's not just at any age, though. even with little kids, right? Maybe
Right.
maybe you work on them individually, but teaching them to also slow down, because it catches up to you when you don't get enough sleep, when you don't eat correctly, when you're not doing the things to take care of yourself, and you're so rampant and all these other things. You're in a space with kids where you can really help them have that awareness of, okay, I need to slow down, or hey, maybe I need to
Right.
do something. Does that come up
Right.
with you a lot?
Absolutely. And I think it's really a big thing with art and music too, is channeling yourself in a way that is intuitive, right? Because a lot of times, when we're going through the day, when we're going through the checklist, our jobs, whatever it is, right, we're not really using our intuition, or maybe we're not really aware that we're using our intuition. When you're performing, and I encourage a lot of my students to perform, right, if they're comfortable, we go into almost like a no mind space. And this is kind of a whole, another discussion, a whole kind of spiritual discussion, but you kind of go into a different space. And you're right, it is more about slowing down, right? The speed you go at can really kind of affect your mind. If you're always in hyper speed, your mind is always going to try to find something to speed itself up. It's almost like if you see the whole world as or if you're, sorry, I guess the analogy is, if you're always going through life with a hammer, you're going to see everything else as a nail, right? So it's like, if you see, if you're carrying something softer, then you're going to kind of go through the life and see it more as kind of softer edges. It's kind of, I guess it might be kind of a perspective change. But when it comes to teaching, I guess the philosophy is, connection, intuition. There's different kinds of intelligence, right? It's not just
For sure.
what's 1 + 1 = 2. It's, what would sound best for this occasion, or, how would you connect with this person, right? It's different kinds of intelligence, I think.
For sure.
So, and we haven't discussed this yet. So I guess now would be a good time, don't you think? So what do you teach?
Mm-hmm. That's
And
a good
what age?
question. Yeah. So I teach piano. I teach guitar. I teach singing I have private students. I also teach at a music school. And the ages are, I think the earliest is probably about 5 years old, and I teach all the way up to adult. So, in some way you could say like, oh, your next question would probably be like, how are they different, right? But I think generally the scope is, everyone is kind of similar, right? Especially when they approach something like an instrument, right? Like music. Everybody is kind of coming to it with the same kind of curiosity, kind of like, how does this thing work? How do I play it and make some sort of beautiful sound out of it? And that kind of, there's a lot of common ground. Everybody's impatient.
But everybody loves music. That's
Right.
that's I that and
Hard
that
pressed
is
to find
something.
somebody who's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and unless you like rap, that's not music. I'm sorry. That's just been an
Now, hey, now,
editorial
watch
There's a
opinion.
lot of rhythm in
There's
that.
some
There's a
good
lot of
stuff
rhythm.
out there.
Yeah. Don't give a bad rep. There's some good stuff out there. Of course, nowadays the musical landscape is so blurred when it comes to genre too, because
It is.
anybody can make music nowadays. So it's kind of like you can put in a little genre here or a little bit of a genre here. So it's like, what even is rap anymore? Like, what's singer-songwriter? What's rock? It's like everything is so blurred now. Yeah.
It is.
Well, it really is interesting, because I think, and this is a little, we don't need to get into this, but I think music is better the way it used to be versus the way it is now. Now I sound like an old grumpy old man.
I think you do have a point. Actually, to come from a producer's point of view, an engineer's point of view, the equipment they were using in the 1970s was all analog, and actually the kind of the history of recording music up to the 1970s, the technology in the 1970s was the best analog technology there was. After that, everything started to go digital. So if you think about analog recording, the 1970s was the absolute peak time. So I guess in a way you could be right.
Well, but I would love to know, because we do the music show on Brushwood, and we play mostly older stuff, because the new stuff, I don't know, maybe it's my ear that doesn't work the way it used to, but it all sounds the same to me. And it all sounds pre-produced or overproduced. And it doesn't have a lot of great harmonies that are built from the ground up. They're all auto-tuned, and it's just drives me crazy.
I'll have to send you a playlist.
Yeah, well, perfect. And by the way, Neil, I think that you're kind of an intuitive sort of guy, and so I want you to tell me where people are listening to this show right now, and which country is listening to us as we speak.
Which country? Oh,
well, give him a moment. You can't tell somebody, okay, listen to your intuition. You have 3 seconds.
how about the United States? Can I say that?
You can say that, but I would prefer that you said Kenya.
Because, wow, I would never have guessed that. That's really cool.
And go ahead, Rochelle.
Hi, Samuel. We love you. Samuel is got an organization in Kenya where he feeds and provides knowledge for 350 kids that he helps care for. He says, greetings, Brother Kevin, my sister Rochelle, and guest Neil Reed. Hope you are all doing fine. Receive our greetings from Kibera slums in Nairobi, Kenya. They're watching live with their team on this favorite program. Different professionals to meet from around the world, and we are proud of you, Brother Kevin and Sister Rochelle. Thank you for informing the world what we are doing in Kibera, in the largest slum in the world. And he sent us his email, which I just also got on mine. So Samuel, if you go and find him on Facebook, there is all the introductions to his board and all that he is doing, so you can donate to provide help for him and the kids, and also his email if you're looking here on the screen. If you're not, it's on YouTube and all where else. So thank you for joining us in, Samuel. We love you. Stay with us for the rest of the show. Kevin, I'll let you take us to break, and then I've got another question.
That's pretty handy right there. And we'll be right back after this quick message. Please stay with us. For way too long, we've allowed shadows to dictate our steps. Our clamor of division, the whisper of fear, and the harsh grip of hate. They've tried to define us. But this is our moment of truth. We remember who we truly are. Not just separate islands, but a vast ocean of shared humanity. We declare our independence from the narratives that have pulled us apart. We choose curiosity over judgment, empathy over indifference, understanding over accusation. This isn't about ignoring our differences. It's about celebrating the strength woven into our tapestry. It's about remembering that progress isn't built on exclusion, but on common ground. So let the banners of kindness fly high. Let the anthem of unity ring out. This is our declaration, our independence from what limits us, our freedom to truly connect. Because together we are stronger, and together we are free. And this declaration is brought to you by Positive Talk Radio. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald. Rochelle is right there. And Neil Reed. Yes, that Neil Reed is right here. It's
right here.
Neil, there's somebody in our audience going, Neil Reed. Neil, I know that name. I know that. Where do I know that name from? So,
combination of two old guys, right? Neil Young and Reed.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Now, did you make that up, or did your parents have that in mind when they named you?
Are you asking where my name comes from?
Essentially, kind of, yeah.
Well, I'm
Uh,
guessing you didn't choose it.
I didn't choose it. Yeah, I didn't choose. This is not my actual name. My parents wanted to name me Liam, like kind of Neil backwards almost, but somebody vetoed it. One of my parents vetoed, so they did the opposite. So it became Neil. And then my dad's side is the Reeds, so that's where I got my last name. And if you were also interested, my middle name is kind of interesting too. It's Dickinson. Um, there's a there's a famous poet on my dad's side that I'm related to, so I got my middle name. So
Amazing.
That's pretty cool then. So that's actually your real name and all of that, and which is now you've got a brand new song out, and I want to make sure that we get this out, and it's on Spotify and everywhere else. And the name of the song, well, first of all, is this your first song that you've produced and put out there, or are there bunches?
there's this is a new project. So I've been releasing music since 2021. But I'd say this is the most professional project. I've been involved in. I co-produced it with another producer that is also very professional and very keyed into a lot of the same genres and moods, emotions, and kind of similar personality as well. And yeah, and it's doing pretty well. I got 30,000 streams in organic streams in under a month. So we're doing pretty well. We're getting ready to release another song in the next month or so too. So we're just gonna keep it going.
Congratulations, 30,000 downloads. That must be, it's like $1.98. But that's
Yeah, it's a little more than that. But you know what? You're kind of right. But you know what? It's not really about the numbers necessarily. And I'm sure you could kind of say kind of similar for this program too. I mean, at some point it is, you know, a numbers game, but you know, if you as a songwriter, right, like when you're writing a song, you want to connect with yourself, right? There's one person you want to connect with. And I think when you put out music, to think that millions of people, right, millions of just people like me will connect to one song, it might seem a little far-fetched. If you can connect with one person, right, that's a big deal. And so
Yeah.
who knows who people are connected with, but yeah, you know, we're happy, and we're building something sustainable. That's really what it's about.
well, when you put music into the world, it stays in the world. So it'll be there forever. And kind of like most of this show, like this show that you and we are doing, will be there forever.
Scary.
Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Well,
Little bit,
I
little
still
bit.
think that.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
you see,
yeah.
I have a picture of what I look like when I was 23. You guys are gonna have videos of what you're gonna look like. That'll
Ah.
go back, that'll be there in 40 years or 50 years. They're still gonna be around, Rochelle. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna think about that because that stresses my mind. I can't think that far ahead, but also how exciting, right? Because maybe my grandkids or even my kids someday when they are like, mom is just so mean. Mom doesn't get it. Mom doesn't know nothing. I'll be like, you know what? They'll find me eventually, and they'll be like, oh, well, I guess mom does gets it because she was there and she was that. And there's gotta be like, I'm thinking about when you talk about music, Neil, there's so much meaning and purpose in it for you. And as you're talking about starting these new songs, like, was there something different that happened, or maybe a realization that you happened, and you're like, whoa, wait, if I'm connecting with me so deeply into this, having so much purpose with just one song, did that come from a specific place, or were you just one day just like, I don't know why I'm not making this a little bit bigger type of thing? Because you have a lot of, how do I put it? Like the energy around you when you talk about music is so meaningful, and that's got to be important.
Yeah, I think, well, you know, the way we attach meaning to life is how we find purpose, and that's important for everybody. I guess to give you a little background about the song, so and one of the reasons it has a lot of meaning to me is my brother has the song is really about my brother, and he's dealt with substance abuse issues for a long time. Um, and so it's really, you know, it was something to help myself in my own kind of mental of like finding meaning in kind of this uncontrollable situation. That's a big thing. When you can find some sort of meaning in a situation that you can't control, that you can't manage, that you can't fix necessarily yourself, it kind of makes everything a little lighter. I think that's a big part behind this song specifically. But in the last couple years, I think it was kind of the end of 2023. I started practicing Buddhism. It's a specific type of Buddhism. It's like a Japanese Buddhism that it's a lot about chanting. So the practice is the chanting every single day. And the practice kind of over time actually makes you feel lighter. It kind of makes you see a little more clarity about your situation in the world. And that's really a big, that's been a big change in you know, my approach, not just music, but to finding meaning in a lot of things, right? When you feel lighter, it's kind of like we were talking about. It's like when, you know, if you go through life and you go through it so, you know, so fast and everything is, you know, happening around you, you're just reacting to everything, right? It's kind of the similar vibe of when you can feel lighter going through the world, you can kind of understand things from a different point of view, maybe a little bit more clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old did you say you were?
How old? Old
Yeah.
enough.
See, Kevin, I told you there's others out there like me. Neil, I have to tell you this specifically because it's important and it's meaningful to me, because if you were to have kids and I were to have kids and they were to go to a daycare or go to a park or something like that, and I'm like, wow, you know, well, that's Neil's kid. I'm not worried about that because I know that he has put himself in a position of learning who he is. So he's not going to pass on all these things to his kid I wouldn't want mine to be around. And I've told Kevin, up until maybe a few months ago, I've started to realize that I am not as scared for the generation to come in some of the ways, because I meet people like you and I'm like, okay, well, for one, that makes me realize I'm not so alone, but also for other kids that are like looking at us. And I hate to say that word because Kevin's like, you're still a kid. If you're 21 or younger, to me, you're a child.
You're still a kid. Yeah,
so
there's levels to it.
Yeah, for me, 41 or younger, you're still a child. How about that?
Oh, that's fair. See, but then me and Neil will get to that age, and when you have the consistent growth of working on yourself, you're, how you said, you touch that one person. That one person is what creates a domino effect, and that's where you have more power than you even realize. I mean, for me, I sat back the other day and I was like, wow, like people in Kenya know who I am, and I never would have thought that for myself. But also for putting something out positive, right? Because there's lots of people our age that are just like screaming all this negativity and complaining. So I'm glad there's somebody else out there that gets to be on my side of things a little bit more to guide us along.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Neil.
Well,
Well, let me ask you while I got you before we go to break, which is you are a young man and you discovered Buddhism, which is a bit of a calling and it's a spiritual practice. How did you run into it? And were you introduced to it by a mentor? Did you read it in a book? Or did you wake up one day and an angel came down and tapped you on the head with a wand and said, "You're going to study Buddhism"?
I wish it was that latter one. I really wish. No, so it's kind of an ironic story, to be quite honest with you. So I answered a
Well,
Craigslist
hold
ad.
on. I want you to be able to tell it in completely and not have to break it up. So let me get this break out of the way, or our halftime Brushwood
I'll
Media
hold
break.
for a second.
Yeah, hold that thought, and remember, it's ironic, and it's a new, and it's a great story. So then we'll, Rochelle, and would you like to take us to break? I never ask you that.
I'd love to. Well, thank you, Kevin, for making all this possible. I'm here as well with Kevin, and we have Neil Reed with us today. If you have any questions about finding out a little more, stay in tune with this conversation and Google him. You can pretty much find him on every source, which I've realized. So don't go too far. We'll be back within the minute.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald, and Rochelle is right there, and Neil Reed is our guest. He is a music teacher, a composer, a performer, and does all these things. I got to ask you, Neil, about that commercial that I just played about have you ever heard the expression, as time goes, history tends to repeat itself?
Yes. Kind of what we were talking about with like the 1980s and maybe today's things are kind of similar.
In the 1960s and 70s, there was something called a transistor radio. And the transistor radio would tune in to the local radio stations that had a big enough signal in that geographical area. Well, now the same thing is happening with smartphones. You know how many smartphones there are? There are 9 billion of them, literally 9 billion of them. And so now people are taking things like the Brushwood Media Network and they're listening to it on their smartphone in 190 countries all around the world. It is remarkable. And you're going to be listened to in Kenya and a bunch of other different places. I just thought it's amazing how things change, but they stay the same. It's just the technology was different, and now it's on a bigger, more global scale. But I wanted to ask you again, because you have an ironic story about how you discovered Buddhism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's funny story, and you'll kind of hear a little more of the ironic twist at the end. So I answered a Craigslist ad. This was 2 years ago, maybe 2 and some change. To be a piano teacher for a middle-aged man, and he the catch with the ad was he is a professional photographer, so I would give him lessons. He would give me the photo shoots when I needed, headshots, stuff like that. Actually, the shot that I gave you, right, the photo I gave you was actually shot by him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he was already involved in this organization, and he introduced me. And it was maybe a little foreign for me, but I got into it. I kept it up, and it really kind of became my thing. And the ironic part was he, as a personality, is probably one of the least Buddhist people you would probably meet. He was very selfish, very much like if you entered a room with him, he would dominate the conversation and not leave any space for, like you to get a word in. Very like combative personality. Which is the ironic thing. I actually ended up renting a room in a really nice house in Encino from him that he grew up in, and it was like one of the worst living experiences I've been in. He, there was a washer and dryer that I couldn't use. There was a caretaker for his elderly mom there that was always kind of always like trying to rat me out to him, telling him I was doing all these bad things. Like there was all these problems that I was uncovering with the relationship with him. Very much like one-sided, but I think there's the silver lining of like there's this Buddhist practice, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but even though somebody who might be a negative influence on you comes into your life, there are the positive things about it, and the Buddhism is one of those real positive things that I stayed with me, even though I don't have the relationship with him anymore.
Well, so was he a practicing Buddhist? Is that how you ran into that?
Yes.
But he wasn't. So based upon what you're telling me, he was a practicing Buddhist, but he needed more practice to become a Buddhist because he wasn't.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like you're an open person, Kevin, but I do know it doesn't really matter what part of the spectrum politically or whatever affiliation you're on. As an older person, there's more tendency to get stubborn and to stop listening to people and to become
No. That never
It seems
happens.
like you're agreeing with me.
Well, most people, that's exactly what happens. Then, and Rochelle can tell you that I have a stubborn streak in me too. But
well, I do too. I'm not saying I'm innocent here, but yeah.
Oh yes,
but
no, don't let him deny it, and I won't either, Neil, since we're all being vulnerable here.
Right.
But I think
we have to find comfort.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is I'm curious because there's always a catalyst, or at least in my world, there's a catalyst on how we initiate change in ourselves. And how we do that is we find something that we would like to do that's different than we've done it before. And we recognize that it's different. Our intuition tells us it's different. And so we begin to go down a bit of a journey to try and figure out what that is. It happened for you much younger than it happens for most people. Most people are in their early 40s or so when that happens. But but you find a moment when you start searching for why are you really here? What am I really here to do? There's more than I've been told, kind of philosophy and kind of deal. Is that what happened to you?
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that you use the word searching because actually a few years ago I had a session with a psychic, and basically they told me that I'm in a searching phase until the end of this year of my life. But I've always been very curious. Always been a very much kind of searching for the next best thing kind of person, which it doesn't necessarily make it easier, right? Searching just means that you're not necessarily satisfied with what you already have. So when you're constantly searching, you're kind of like, well, I don't really like where I'm in. It kind of goes along with what we were saying about just, staying still and being okay with just, being with that. It's like when you're in the searching phase, you're constantly searching for what's next, what's better, the grass is always greener on the other side. And when you come into something that is foreign to you, but is something that you can get comfortable with, that is when the change happens, because everything new is going to be uncomfortable for a little bit. But it's kind of like I don't know, anything. I experience this a lot with teaching. People have played one piece or one method, and learned that way for the whole time they've had the piano or whatever, and then it's a different way, or they're learning different pieces and it's uncomfortable and they're just not used to it. But you don't realize when you're in that moment that you're actually growing the most that you're going to grow, right? That uncomfortability drives a lot of growth. So if you can see it that way, there's a lot you can be the arbiter of your own change. It's really you that's in the way, right?
Well, I got news for you, my boy. You are the only one who can initiate change in your life. Nobody else. That's your job.
Right.
That's the universe gave you that job because you're capable of doing that job to find out why you're really here so that you could live the best life possible. And if you're searching now, it's because you're still looking for it and you haven't found it yet. But I suspect you're getting much, much closer.
Of course. And it's always a journey. The journey doesn't end even if you've reached your destination, right? It's just kind of a stop line.
You know what's really frightening, Neil, is that people get to be my age, and which I'm. Let's see, you're 20. Okay, I'm older than you, and when you get to be my age, then people go, "Well, I should have reached my destination." And the only time you reach your destination is when you die, and then you go to the great reward, because you're still searching. And so many people get to my age and they say, "I should have figured it out by now, but I don't know any more than I did when I was 25. How do I figure this out?" And so that's part of the magic of what this life brings. If you look at it like magic rather than a swirling toilet bowl, which some people have to look at that too, and they look at it that way too. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that in what I've learned in Buddhism, that is kind of all about what's being taught is that for one, what you said, right? You're the arbiter of change. That's exactly that. There's not really a God in Buddhism. Sometimes people who are just learning about Buddhism or are not really familiar will think that Buddha is the God, but that's not. He's not a God. He was just a person who became enlightened. It's more of the thought behind it is more like you're uncovering the enlightenment. The analogy is like the lamp's shade over the bright light of the lamp, right? You have to uncover the shade to get the light, right? Versus you trying to get a certain God on your side. So you are right. I think that goes right along with what I feel like is truthful for me, where you can actually really only be the change that you want. Other people can help you get there. I think there is a lot to be said about encouragement. But that's also a reflection of their own goodness, of their own change as well, right?
Oh, exactly. And we're all going through change. And by the way, the name of your song that we mentioned, but we did not mention the name in the title, is Nothing at All by Neil Reed. Now, did you do the lyrics and the music, or the one and the other guy did the other? How did that work?
Yeah, so I did the lyric. I wrote the song, so I did the lyrics and what you could think of as like the if you could imagine somebody at a piano playing and singing it, that's like what I did. I also in the later part of the song, I did some of the string arrangement, so that's partly me, but all the polish, the drums, we had to outsource the song to somebody in New York to do the drums, the bass, the guitar, all that is the other producer as well. I'm kind of more of like the raw ideas kind of person, and then it usually in collaboration, somebody else is kind of putting on the polish and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now, did you do the singing?
I did.
You have a great voice.
That's very nice of you to say that. Thank you.
Well, it'd be really rude if he was like, "Oh, by the way, you probably should not sing that song."
Yeah, let somebody else do that. Yeah, next time.
Yes, and
Yeah,
so everybody
you.
knows it's listening. We were late to the show. We were trying to figure these things out. We really are trying to get this out on the rest of the show. And if we don't, make sure you look it up. As Kevin said, it is Nothing at All by Neil Reed. And I know we need to take a last break, but Neil, I have to get this question out of my head because I think it's going to eat me alive. Kevin was talking about what it is like to be in that energy, which he taught me a lot of. So thank you for that. How to be enjoying of the journey, right? And as you talk about this Buddhism and how Buddha himself was enlightened by enjoying every step of the journey and being present in the moment. But I want to also smash that together with the people that you work with and what it is like for them in the moment of doing that music. It is almost a form of meditation, I would like to say. And maybe in those moments, they're still enough and they're enlightened enough to where just by doing that one thing that connects them with themselves, they might enjoy the journey a little more. So when we come back, I'm wondering if maybe you have a story to share where those two have mashed together and it's really had a huge impact on somebody's life.
Okay, I'll think about it. Thank you.
And we will be right back after this break. Here's another point to ponder from Positive Talk Radio. What is the easiest thing to justify? It is a small transgression. The one no one will ever see, no one will ever know. The tiny exaggeration on the expense report. The extra minute you took on your lunch break. The packaging you tossed in the wrong recycle bin because it was closer. In those moments, the question isn't, will I get caught? The question is, will I know? It isn't about avoiding punishment. It's a silent agreement you make with yourself when you choose to do the right thing. To return the wallet. To fix the mistake. To respect the empty space. You aren't impressing the world. You're earning your own respect. That small choice, made entirely in private, is how you build a life you never have to look away from. The only audience that matters is you. And welcome back to Positive Talk, because, Rochelle, did you know that the only audience that matters is you?
I do now, but I didn't before because I didn't know that I had control of my own life, and learning that was quite the curve, and it is starting to become enjoyable. I am starting to learn that the journey in front of me is how I choose to see it, which can be frustrating also.
Oh, very good. By the way, Neil, I got to ask you, are you in a house with a bunch of people?
My girlfriend's in the other room somewhere.
Oh,
but I'm alone in this room.
that is the weirdest thing. Rochelle, could you hear that noise in the people in the background?
Yeah. I know this is crazy. I don't know why. I'm glad I'm not the only one that heard it. It almost sounded like there was like an echo of like not even a voice, but just. Kevin, how would you describe it?
It came from my soul.
Yeah.
There's a party in the band. If you want to invite your girlfriend into the show, just say hello. That would be great too.
I think she's occupied. I think she's taking a shower or something.
Oh,
but well, that's even better.
It might be, there's a preschool that's like on the other side of the fence. That might also be it. Sometimes they get kind of loud back there.
Oh,
that wasn't necessarily a voice though. It was almost like just this, like somebody was saying something, but not in a specific voice, and then it just stopped. So that was creepy.
Well, this is Halloween week.
So. Gotta watch out. It's getting spooky.
Exactly. So, Rochelle, I'm gonna depend upon your expertise to see if you can help us play this song while we're here in the show. And
Okay.
Neil, tell us how you wrote this, and I know it's about your brother. How is and I almost hesitate to ask, how's your brother doing today?
He was released from rehab about 2 weeks ago, and for now he's comfortable at home, so he's doing better.
How
Thanks
long was he in rehab?
for a month.
That is a very difficult experience to go through,
Yeah.
and we wish him well. We wish him well in his struggles, because it's sometimes this life is hard, and we all pick ways for us to deal with it, and
Yeah.
some of them are not really very good. And I hope that he's able to help, and with your help and others in his world can make it work for him. That's a big deal. Is he your older brother or younger brother?
Older brother. So I'm the youngest.
Me too. So she. Well, she's an only child.
Oh, well,
I get to
that's
be all
cheating.
three. I'm just lucky like that.
Nice. Yeah. That's good though. It's good to know that the younger sibling energy is a real thing.
Yes,
Oh,
much
it most
softer and
definitely is.
understanding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we could talk about it all day. Yeah, yeah. But to answer your question, Brichelle, about like the
Oh,
experience,
yes. Yeah, the journey. And I
did you
found your song on
okay,
Spotify on my phone. I'm gonna put
perfect.
my microphone up to it, so please do share this example of the story, and as we close out, I wanna play a snippet of that for people.
Okay. And I'll kind of tie it into your question too, Kevin, a little bit. So when I was working with the producer, it was the first time working with him, right? So we didn't really know each other. We didn't really trust each other, and in all collaborative environments, trust is a really big deal, right? It's probably the biggest deal, right? Like it doesn't really matter as much about like how good you are and how much you know. It does, but not as much. And the first couple sessions were kind of rough. I suppose I kind of go into a situation kind of trying to be receptive, but as an artist, you have to be more pushy, and that I sometimes forget that. Being a teacher is like kind of the opposite spectrum. You're receiving. Artists, you're projecting yourself, and so it was actually a process of him learning to be receptive of my energy, and it was me learning how to almost like direct him to do what I want, right? And it's almost a miracle. You think about like all these songs, like how many millions of songs there are on Spotify and everything, but you think about like all those songs that were created and crafted and produced and done, like mine with a producer and an artist, are kind of little miracles that they worked out. It wasn't a terrible vibe. It wasn't like destruction. Destruction's really easy, right? But creating something is kind of hard. So I think it took about 5 months to do. And to I will say, it's put in context, to make a song like this in 5 months is a long time. I know it was the first time working with him, but it took 5 months to finish the song. We were both very impatient, but we chose to trust. And so that's the experience, is like to choose to kind of like, okay, it's taking longer than we expect, but it's okay. It's going to come out. And to answer your question about kind of like the writing process, it was one night. It was one night, and I think I chanted for about an hour, and then I didn't have any idea. A lot of times, and this was kind of my process for all the writing I've done recently, is I chant and then I go and write and see what comes out. Um, One thing somebody told me who is in the organization, which was a I'm always going to remember what he said, was this practice is a chance to express yourself. And that's kind of something I'd never thought about before, but it makes total sense now. So essentially what happened to create the song was I, chanted, and then I sat down, and then it just kind of came out. It was just like, okay, here's the music, and the words are also kind of just, you're it was almost intuitive. It just kind of happened, like almost not in like a flash. It was over maybe an hour or two, but it was definitely felt like just, you know, an opportunity to see what is down there and kind of let it come out.
Well, and I will tell you, Neil, that is every songwriter, every poet, every musician, every author I've ever talked to says roughly the same thing. Well, I don't know. It just kind of came to me because they are divine, in my opinion, and the creative process is something that you just kind of download and you don't really, you know. And I've got proof. Paul McCartney wrote Yesterday years and years ago, and he woke up with that song in his head.
Right.
And
right.
He wrote Let It Be because he had a dream from his mother Mary. And John Lennon had similar experience. Those are the people, only people I know, by the way.
Hey, look, if only I wish I could dream. I can't dream I don't dream very often. But if I could, I wish.
Be careful what you wish for. Oh my goodness. There's a whole nother world out there you could go to.
Yeah. Well, I watched a lot of David Lynch films, and it's like, oh yeah, well, I understand dreaming could happen really, you know, in an evil way too.
Very good.
Yeah.
So Rochelle, would you like to see if we can't play a little bit of that song?
Yes. Let me see and make sure that we can all hear this at the right audio. I'll play just a few minutes of it so that we can close this short time out with him. Can you hear that? I don't want it to
very
be
slightly.
Too loud.
Well, look, you know, the delicacy of the shoes and the fact that you've got all the security makes this very improbable. I thought the place was completely secure.
No, we can't hear it, love. And
I could probably make it really loud, but I feel like it'll create an echo. So if you're listening to this and you couldn't hear that, go to Spotify, YouTube, all those things, right, Neil? That it's
Amazon Music. Yep.
Okay, perfect. And it is Nothing at All by Neil Reed. And Neil, thank you so much for spending your time with us. To know that you're understanding of the spiritual path and also just open to learning how you're getting through life and how to do it in a better way and provide that for other people is, as Kevin says, the biggest calling that we have. So as we take these last few minutes, please give us all the information of ways people can find your song, your information. I'd love to know if you know when the next song is going to come out so we can watch for that. And then any ways people can get in touch with you if they are like, hey, I want him to be my teacher too.
Yeah. That's a good question. So the song, you could reach it. Probably the best bet is Spotify, and it's called Nothing at All by Neil Reed. And if you want to reach me or if you want to follow me, you can follow me. My Instagram is at real REELNEID. Real Need. And the next song will probably be out within the next month. Sometimes it's a little bit of a slow process, but getting everything, especially because I make all my music kind of organically. Sometimes it's produced, but everything is played by live instruments. So it'll be out within about another month. And
Beautiful.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me on. Yeah, thank you again.
Of course.
You betcha. And what's the song going to be about?
It's gonna be it's gonna be about a relationship. It's gonna be more about a romantic relationship. It's more about the trials of love, which is also also has maybe some spiritual undertones as well.
Oh, so the title wouldn't happen to be "Love Sucks," would it? Because that's in my
no, but
you love love. Stop it, Kevin.
But you know what?
I know. I still weep when I hear and see love, because it's never happened to me. Huh?
There's definitely hints of love sucks, in the song. I think you need that with all love songs. You can't just have a super perfectly happy love song. There's always a little hint of something. There's some melancholy, or there's something down there that, it's never going to be perfect.
And I want to thank you, Neil Reed, for being here. We've had a good time. You're going to have to come back. When the next song comes out, you'll have to come back, and then we'll play them both. Got it?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
And Rochelle, thank you. And I'm going to see you in right about a half hour from now.
Yes. And thank you, Neil, so much. Can't wait to have you back. And stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back.
Yes.
Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got.